Hello, friends. Welcome to another edition of Love Wrestling React. Spencer here, joined as always. I thought I was getting better at this. Joined as always by my friend Parrish. We were talking about this.
It's not that easy, man.
When you think you've gotten used to it, I need to have like a sign on my door that says like "point this way." We'll get there eventually. We're not here to talk about
pointing to like where they are on the screen. Like you're that way on my screen, but you're actually that way. It's like the mirror effect, right?
We'll get there eventually. It is good to see you, my friend. It is good to see Vanessa, who is hopping in with perfect timing. Great to see you, friends. Parrish, I'll turn to you first, man. How are you doing after what was, I'd say, a solid? It was up and down. I may be being a little generous there, but a solid episode, I think, of Monday Night Raw.
Well, I think Raw needs to get better. Oh, hello. No, I think Raw is one of those programs, like SmackDown's absolutely killing it, and I think Raw is the one that needs to step up their game a little bit. So the fact that they put out a solid episode tonight, I think is a step in the right direction and for the progress of Raw. My only thing is I'm starting to get stale on the main event scene on Raw, and I think that means we need a draft.
Don't disagree at all. Vanessa, how are you feeling on Monday Night Raw? I did it to streamer the other night, so are you hot or cold on this evening's edition of Raw? See what I did there? I did a putting you over thing.
I do. I enjoy that. I was cold on tonight. Like, it was painful for me to get through that, if I am being honest.
All right. Well, we'll take it. Sorry, as I'm catching up, you saw me with my faux pas there. I've got a little bit of an allergy season issue going on right now, but that won't hamper me whatsoever. Good to see you in the comments, friends, like our friends at Wrestling Plug Inc., like Josh with 2 words to start it off, and no, they are not suck it. Eva Marie making her long-awaited return to the WWE. My reaction exactly to our friends at Wrestling Plug Inc. We'll get there in a second. I always like to at least start with the start of Raw. We sort of spiral from there pretty well every single time, whether it's Raw or otherwise. But let's start where Monday Night Raw did, quite literally with a coin flip. Like, quite literally with a coin flip. Going into tonight, they had made the tease, I guess, the announcement that they were going to decide on whether Drew McIntyre or Braun Strowman was going to wrestle Bobby Lashley tonight. And it was decided with a coin flip backstage that Braun Strowman won. So he got to wrestle Bobby Lashley in the main event tonight. And you know what? Screw it. We'll spiral early. Just to go ahead and do all of this off the bat, advertise that this is going to be a big game-changing decision on the road to WrestleMania Backlash. At the end of the show, as we're going off screen today, they announced that Drew's going to wrestle Bobby next week. I don't understand it. I really don't. And I've never booked wrestling, and I don't ever claim to understand the intricacies of it. But it don't make a lot of sense to me to build an angle for 1 week when you're going to go ahead and say, well, our big angle from last week, wipe out any meaning that even just something as small as a coin flip had. We're going to negate it all next week. Vanessa, I'll let you kick off here because I was a little frustrated with it. You said you were a little frustrated with the overall edition of the flagship tonight. So kick her off. What were your thoughts on this?
Well, starting with the coin toss, I was like, are we doing a football game? I was like, why are we doing a coin toss for who he's going to face? Because I knew automatically that the next week, whoever lost was going to be facing Lashley the next week.
Yeah.
So it wasn't some big surprise. And then McIntyre comes out at the end, and oh my God, I just can't. I can't.
It's definitely frustrating. Well, and Parrish, I think that you can probably pick up on the point I'm about to make as well. But it's incredibly frustrating. Okay, I've got no issues. I love Drew McIntyre, frankly. I've really loved Bobby Lashley since last year when he, oddly enough, obviously wrestled McIntyre at last year's non-WrestleMania Backlash. And even Braun Strowman, I've got a lot of time for him when he's as cliche as it sounds to say, like presented like a big dude in wrestling. And I think they've done a good job of that over the last little bit, but I think they're still in that rebuild process in the nicest way possible to them over what they did with some of the stuff coming out of that Universal title run. So it's just odd to me that they would rely on so many tropes. And like, again, the thing that frustrates me is, okay, I've got time if you're going to build this week's main event to be something with these major stakes, quote unquote, you've completely negated them by just awarding Drew a match next week, right? So that might be why I'm getting a little bit, at least a little bit more frustrated with the main event scene. Parrish, you talked about the main event as well. Do you agree with that, or maybe are you a little bit more lukewarm on it for a different reason?
Well, I think it's funny that they did a coin flip, because I think the last coin flip we saw in the WWE or WWF banner was when Lex Luger beat Bret Hart when it was decided who got to face Yokozuna first at WrestleMania 10. So I like how they decided, hey, what storyline from like 26 years ago can we take?
Haven't we redone it in a while?
Which is funny, because if you're going to do a coin flip, which again, like Vanessa keyed on, it reminds you of football. Don't you think Fox would have done it? Like, wouldn't it have made more sense to do it on Fox? But I mean, okay, they did that. That happened. I mean, what can we say?
They flipped a coin to kick the show off. There's not really much else to say, Parrish.
I'm glad Harvey Dent didn't do it and screwed one of the guys. But I mean, at the same time, like you said, they advertised their WrestleMania Raw Heavyweight Championship main event. Boom, like that. Nothing. Why do we care? So it's like, why are you just going to shoot your WrestleMania main event in the foot like that by treating this match as like, oh yeah, by the way, this is happening? And it's like, I don't know. It's like when you're at like a family gathering, you're like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm moving. Can you guys help me? And everyone's like, no.
Just throw it at the end there.
Just to try to get that, like that. No. Can you do it? Like that peer pressure moment. It's like, give me a break. Yeah. Like, you're WWE, be better.
And like, it's frustrating too, because like, to use the comparison of a WrestleMania main event, like maybe it doesn't have the same weight it did, and not to shit on it, like being in a WrestleMania main event, even when it is something like the opening match, I know has a little bit of a weird connotation to it, but like, you're right, Parrish. This was a championship match at the biggest show of the year. It kicked off the first show in front of fans quite literally in a year and a month for WWE. And now you're throwing this 3-4 weeks later completely by surprise at the end of a show, which was built off an angle that, again, if people have time for it, I don't want to critique your opinion. Mine is only my opinion, but I was frustrated by how everything tonight came about, how they announced the main event for next week. I think it just could have been done better. To be honest with you, I had a lot more time for the Lashley Strowman main event than I thought I would have. Like, usually, and it's nothing against them. Again, I've got a lot of time for big dudes in professional wrestling. But Braun Strowman is at his best when he is being a freight train, like running over people in 5, 6, 10 minutes. And I really appreciated the match tonight. It went over 2 segments. It was much more of a wrestling match than I thought it would have been, and I quite enjoyed it, at least on that end. So, Vanessa, I'll let you take the floor, because Parrish and I have rambled for a bit.
I was just going to say that too.
maybe on the match itself, or maybe if you weren't all that hot on that.
Matches or the talent.
It's the way they get there.
Sorry, it's how they, I don't know, they drive there. So like, we just had at WrestleMania, you have Drew and Bobby, and now we're gonna have Drew, Bobby, and Strowman. Like, take Drew out of the picture and just do Bobby and Strowman. Like,
and like I was gonna say,
I am not a triple threat main championship.
How much do we want to put money on there being Braun versus Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank? I think is the next pay-per-view after this. I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't be shocked.
Roman's going to eat the pin.
Yeah. I really don't know. I really don't know where you go from here, but I'm not a booker by any means. Speaking of triple threat main events, Charlotte Flair made her way into the ring. She sauntered her way into the ring. She wrestled a match, and I really want to give an actual genuine shout out here. I loved the fact that they continually referenced and they made the story of the match, I suppose. Even though the result was pretty obvious from the get-go. I love that they made it sort of the teacher versus student, the leader, I guess, versus protege, playing off of the relationship that Dana and Charlotte used to have in 16, 17, whatever it was. It's a small detail, but I think the WWE and pro wrestling as a whole, let's not just throw WWE under the bus here. They tend to have the revisionist history or tend to leave things out for convenience. And I don't even think that this would have been something that you could have found a good reason to leave out. I don't understand how you'd leave that out in the interest of pushing someone, if that makes sense. But I appreciated the fact that they went with it. Even Charlotte in the first couple of seconds of the match saying, "You're still my protege. You can't beat me, B-word," whatever it was, or the exact quote. I thought that was fantastic. Graves referenced it a couple of times. Yeah, that exact one, Parrish, that word exactly. But it was just a nice touch. I appreciated the fact that it wasn't sort of swept under the rug because not a hot take by any means, but I didn't hate that run by any means. I liked what Dana and Charlotte did. I know that there was that one instance where Dana beat Bayley because of that big old botch at, I think it was Hell in a Cell, that I think soured a lot of people or seemed to be the turning point for me on that. Didn't bug me. Shit happens. I quite liked that run together. So, Parrish, I turned to Vanessa last. I like to keep alternating it. Makes it easy when there's three people on the stream. I can just go back and forth. I don't have to throw a dart at the dartboard. I'll at least give the context afterwards. I suppose I should do as well. After the match, Charlotte said she was going to make an announcement or had a proposal. Sonya Deville came out. Charlotte made the pitch that she should be added to the Raw Women's Championship match for a lot of valid reasons. Really liked Charlotte's promo. And then Sonya did. Sonya added Charlotte Flair. We now have a triple threat at WrestleMania Backlash. Charlotte versus Rhea versus Asuka. And Triple H smiles upon the WWE universe because finally that long-term storytelling, that wait and see he gave us after Charlotte beat or after EO pinned Rhea Ripley for Charlotte's title, it'll finally pay off. So Parrish, after my long-winded ramble, thoughts on the one women segment, at least earlier in the show tonight?
Okay, this is my take on Charlotte right now. No, it's not negative. Tamina recently said that she was the Roman Reigns of the women's division, which I don't disagree with. But I think she should be more like the Seth Rollins of the women's division because I don't necessarily see why she needs to always be in the title picture. Instead, I think she is better suited right now to help elevate people into that picture. So by the time she's back in there, there's a bigger group of females that can be that she can work with, and you don't have to rush into these Rhea versus Charlotte 2. You can actually save them for the big events and actually make money off them instead of throwing them away like you're doing with Bobby and Drew. So I think she should be used in this position more, especially with the amount of women that are on the roster that aren't being used. I do love the fact that she worked with Dana. I would have loved to see Dana get an upset win, though. That would have made
I don't
Dana.
disagree. I agree. If again, there have been a couple of points, and I made the
use Maggie as a distraction.
Well, I was just going to say I had the critique even earlier when Rhea first came up and made the challenge to Asuka. I think it was her first 3 matches outside of WrestleMania that she either interfered with or got involved or won dirty because something like that. I'm not a big fan of distraction finishes, but I think you're right, Parrish. If you use Rhea Ripley and have that be the excuse or the reason that Charlotte gets added, I understand it might not play into her character. It's not the best idea by any means, but you're right. There could have been a way to have Dana also have I guess pull out the win. Like, I don't even want to say get the rub. She looked really good tonight. I
Charlotte
enjoyed the
as
match.
the female Money in the Bank holder would be absolutely great right now if she continues to help build that division. Because she can still have that reason to get involved in the title matches. But with that being said, there's progress made of elevating the women that are not involved in those title matches per se. And I think that's really needed right now.
Yep, of course. Got to give a quick shout out to our friend Ed. It's just good to see you again. It's always nice to know I'll see Ed in here. Really enjoying Sonya stepping up with Pierce getting his new title. I agree. I've loved Sonya. I think I speak for the three of us on here. Feel free to pipe in if I'm incorrect in that, but I think she's been an absolutely fantastic authority figure. I love how they've teased the tension, even when Pierce first came. I forget what the segment was. If you let me pull my notes up. Sonya, so she made her appearance. Charlotte had the interaction. She got in the argument with Adam Pierce. He said she was overstepping his bounds. And my exact note, because I am getting to a point here, even just the little things like her taking the 2 seconds and almost giving like, I guess like the teenage attitude where she like lifted her eyebrows and was sort of like, okay. When Pierce came at her. Well, it's the best comparison I've got. When somebody's looking at you, it's not just the teenager. It's just I personally, it was most known for me as a teenager. When you're just looking at someone, you can tell they're just like, I don't care what you're saying and actively disrespect it. In fact, that's
everybody does it to me all the time. All the time.
But well played. She really lets that play under the surface. Like it's an odd sentence to say about wrestling, but it's one that I don't think gets said enough. Like she's just a great actress, and you need to be a great performer. You need to be a great actor if you're a professional wrestler as well. And Sonya's got that in spades. Like that whole Dolph, Otis, Mandy kerfuffle storyline. I don't think still everybody knows what great work that was. I still don't think it gets the recognition it does. Like you talk about victims of the WWE losing an audience. Their match at SummerSlam would have been massive. Their match at WrestleMania would have been massive, or the interactions there, like just would have been effing huge. I've got no other way to put it.
That's why Alexa Bliss is a top 3 in my opinion, based on her skills as an actress.
She's just a performer. She and Vanessa, I'll let you pick up here as well, both on the Sonya end, and then I'll also tie in Alexa Bliss as well. Very short promo tonight. It seems like she's not getting as much time as previously, but it's still valuable time, for lack of a better way to put it, which I appreciate. You don't need to make everything a 45-minute segment. As long as they're done well. I enjoyed this promo. I think that they've been up and down, as a lot of the Fiend, this whole entire storyline, I think, has been for a lot of people. I'm a lot more bullish on it than most, so I maybe enjoyed this promo more than most. But it's nice to see that she's starting to get a clear direction, and the reason I tied it into Sonya Deville is Sean Ross Sapp and a few people have tweeted out, like, you look in the background of those interactions that Sonya was having with Adam Pierce, Lily's in the background of them, which is pretty neat. I didn't notice during the show. So, Vanessa, lots to touch on there. We don't leave you with very much. I apologize on behalf of Parrish and I for tending to ramble, but c'est la vie. I'll let you pick up here, and you know what? I'm even going to give you the big screen to do it.
Okay. Charlotte's money. That's like, I'm going to praise Charlotte for until the ends of time. So her beating Dana made sense. Like if Dana beat her, even like on the run she's on, because she's going on the best, being the best in the business, and she's just going to stomp over everybody. If she were to lose that would have just lost steam on that. Like I know she's Teflon, so she could lose, which I think is why she's in the triple threat, because then she'll take the loss and then it'll go from there.
Fair point.
So that's my whole thing with Charlotte. And she just, since she came back after Mania, she has just been gold. I don't know where this Charlotte has been, or if like they just didn't let her do it. Like I have no idea, but she is in a whole nother atmosphere right now.
Yeah. And like for me, it's nothing against the work she does as a babyface, but like it's everything. Exactly. It's everything for the work she does as a heel. And especially right now, Vanessa, I completely agree. Like, it says a lot when you're talking about Charlotte Flair being on one of the best runs of her career. It's early, but I'd argue like the last month or so of Charlotte Flair has certainly been some of the most interested I've been in her in the last little bit. Again, that's saying a lot because I've always been, as you are as well, a big Charlotte Flair fan. Parrish, you got any thoughts on that end?
I was going to flip into Sonya. Sonya is in Charlotte's pocket.
Yeah,
as Roman Reigns. So they're paying Sonya off to get everything they want because Sonya will talk to Pierce on SmackDown to get things done her way.
See, I like that. I didn't think of the like actual paid off connection. Anything. I'm hoping it leads to a return to the ring. I'm really hoping it leads to a return to the ring for Sonya.
I thought this was a terrible suspension angle that they tried, like a 1 week suspension. Like even though like I understand it with like what they've been doing. But I really thought that if they would have played out the suspension angle a couple more weeks, you actually could have made Charlotte a bigger martyr in the process. And you don't necessarily have to make her a babyface when it's done properly. And I think with Charlotte, you're going to be doing things properly because she is the golden girl in WWE. That's not an insult. That is just the truth. She is the most protected female in WWE.
No, I'm just happy we got a Golden Girls reference.
Doesn't it make more sense for her as like Ric Flair's daughter to just be like, here's my money, here's a little extra money for you. Oh, that on the top, just keep that. Buy yourself something nice, and I'll see you on Monday.
Fair call.
Yes,
speaking of
but
big,
I'd
big
love
stars,
to see her get away from being Ric Flair's daughter. Just last
True.
She's always going to be Ric Flair's daughter.
I was just going to say, unfortunately.
It's just how it is.
Speaking of big stars, a lot of the time we've noticed that big stars are fashionably late for things. Speaking of big stars, the Canadian Goose, honk, honk, honk.
Hey, I just checked my watch. It's hard time. What up, Goose?
No,
good to see you, Goose.
I'll be totally honest. I fell asleep during the show.
You pulled a Joe
just
Jr.
woke up. I was like, wait, I was supposed to be on Love Wrestling tonight. Oh no.
Invest in caffeine.
I checked the time and I was like,
wrestling staff.
This is the second straight recap show that I have appeared, and luckily it has because somebody fell asleep.
It's okay. Ed's got some sympathy for you, Goose. We are just happy to see you here. Give us, I guess, your overall thoughts on what you remember of Raw up until you fell asleep then, friend. We've chatted about a couple of things. We've touched on the main event angle. We were just chatting about Sonya and Charlotte Flair and Mandy and Dana Brooke and the women's scene, excluding, of course, up to this point, one major instance. But before I let you do that, honk, honk, honk from the judge, Ben Oman. Good to see you, Ben. Thank you for hopping in to Love Wrestling Reacts right here on Love Wrestling. Goose, the floor is yours, and I'm even giving you the big screen for it.
So fall asleep on it.
I do think that the three-way match between Charlotte and Rhea and Asuka is going to be quite good. I love Asuka, the way she just like went insane tonight.
Yeah,
like her promo was just like the most wild thing of all time. It was fantastic. So I mean, watching those three ladies get in the ring and wrestle is going to be fantastic. I was a little like, I wasn't really aware that Rhea was a heel. Like I kind of expected her to be like the baby face of the group, but
and they've been a bit odd on her end, and nothing against her. Like where we talk earlier about Charlotte Blake being a much better heel than she is babyface, and always want to stress nothing against the babyface work, everything for the heel work. Rhea for me is a lot more flexible, which is admittedly surprising for me. She can play both a babyface and a heel equally well, in my opinion. I've been a little confused with the way she's been portrayed since coming up. Like, she was very clearly a heel in that Asuka feud. Even though it was 2 weeks, they established that. They caused Asuka to get the loss the week before WrestleMania, I think it was. And then she sort of flipped, flop, and flown in between that, right? Like, I get why, in the sense that, like, yeah, she was obviously very antagonistic towards Asuka, and she's just the baby face when it comes to the stuff that goes on with Charlotte Flair after everything that happened at Mania 36. I can't think of a better way to put it, but it's just odd that they've chosen to transition it like this, right? Like, if they're going to bring Rhea Ripley up as a babyface and the long-term plan is to have her as a babyface for her first long run, it's weird to me to have that happen for the first 3 weeks as a heel, because, again, like, great wrestler, but in any situation, that seems to me it would kill some momentum when you try and turn this way and then go this way, right? Like, I just think of everything like a car, for lack of a better way to put it. Like, if I'm going to turn, I've got to go left to turn on 82nd Street. Oh, shit, it's right. Like, it's that much harder to get right because I've started going this way with it. You know what I mean? That's the way it feels like it's been with Rhea Ripley. The nice thing for me is, she's too damn talented for anything like that to hold her down, right?
Question.
Yes, Parrish. We have Parrish on the floor.
Then we got to get a goddamn GPS. Like,
Okay,
seriously?
look.
You don't know where you're going. Get some help.
Bad car analogies aside, okay, I'm not very good at the analyzing.
Even with the storyline thing, though, like, if you don't know where you're going to go with somebody's direction, don't do anything extreme, because then you're only harming the talent. If you do something minor, it's a lot easier to pull it back. But if you go something like extreme, now all of a sudden there's a setback. Now all of a sudden there's confusion from the fans about this character, and you're putting yourself in a position to have to dig out of a hole. So if you do something minor, it's a lot easier to, continue walking. If you trip, it's a lot harder to continue walking if you fall down, right? So, like, that's my analogy with it.
Then maybe you should get better shoes. I don't know. I'm just trying to be rude to your analogy like you were to mine. Ed Hoppin and Goose, did you dream anything better that happened during Raw that might have been better than what we saw tonight? Just a good comment. Just a very, very good comment.
If you respond to the next segment, then that'd be fantastic.
But we're not going in order here by any means. We've jumped around a little bit, and because we want to keep. I enjoyed
that Dana went back to her original gear over that, like, pink diva gear that they were wearing.
Yeah,
that was like, oh my goodness.
Now, was that new music for Dana? I'm hearing it for the first time, but I don't know if it's new or if it's like Mandy and Dana's music. I'm just not 100% sure. Someone fact check me. I'm happy to be fact checked in the comments. I'm happy to take any comments here on.
I hope
Love
she has new music. Her old
React.
new music did not suit her at all.
I quite liked the music tonight. And again, whether it's new, whether it's old, new, whether repurposed, whatever. Goose, honk, honk, honk. Glad that you showed up, Goose. You were much more over than I am. Let's hop back a little bit. I do want to touch on what was the first match that we saw this evening. Don't worry, friends. Eva Marie talk still coming up. We're saving the end of the show so we can budget time. I got a lot to say because, damn, I'm happy about it, but definitely have some thoughts. I didn't realize, and I have talked a lot about these guys since WrestleMania.
We're laughing at this one.
I didn't realize how much I had missed AJ Styles and Omos. Like, Vanessa, you've been on a couple of shows you and I have shot about it. Like, I have absolutely loved the way that they've been able to make light of a lot of situations, but not be like a comedy group or not be taken seriously or be very heavy-handed like we've seen with a lot of comedy. I think AJ and Omos have just such great natural chemistry with each other. And I didn't notice how much I had missed it until tonight. Like, their banter in the ring, number one. AJ's cutting a great promo now. Not that he hasn't before. I've just loved him over the last little bit. Maybe, again, just to pinpoint off my previous point, like, maybe it is because he's playing that goofy stuff a little more, that his serious promos are taken with that little bit more edge to him. I just think they've been fantastic. Like, their chemistry together is hilarious. again, the only segment that I really haven't liked, because I know it comes up every time, and rightfully so, was like that game show segment with the New Day was very, very weird. But other than that, I have really enjoyed the back and forth between those two specifically, but all four of them as a whole. Parrish, I'll let you touch on the point first, because I know you aren't a fan of the automatic rematch that the New Day seemingly received upon the tag team champs returns. But after that, we'll go to Shaw, we'll go to Vanessa, and continue along here on Love Wrestling Reacts.
Well, like, I have no problem with automatic rematches, but just don't have Shane McMahon come out like, I think it was a couple years ago, saying we're not doing automatic rematches anymore. Like, just don't do that.
They also said they were going to listen to fans.
And they still haven't done that.
That's an astute. That's a very valid point, and one that also should be brought up every chance.
We would have got Cesaro a long time ago if they would have done that. But anyway, getting back on track, I have no problem with the New Day being in there. They are the bar, no pun intended, to the tag team division. They are the best tag team of the current time in WWE. But again,
you need someone else to do it for you.
Yeah, come on. Thank you. There we are. Thanks.
You actually
we don't
had to
just
do
set
like
the bar. Vanessa and I are the bar.
I did do it. I matched up with his.
Yeah, we made it work, Parrish. Come on.
Just because we're in different areas on your camera.
Don't crap on us. I do still have that blowing off stream clip pulled up, though, if we want to show how often you just shit on me needlessly. You rude, mean, interrupting person.
If anybody in this whole dynamic can, I think it should be me. I've known you the longest.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
But, okay.
You raise a good point.
Going back to the tag team title match, because I do like the fact that they care about the tag team titles, and the tag team champions are back because Raw desperately needs AJ Styles, in my honest opinion. But like Omos again, like that's his Raw debut, right? Like, let's not forget about that. That was Omos's Raw wrestling debut. And the more times you get to see Omos, especially him being a dominant figure, makes him bigger, better in that perception role. So I do like the fact that Omos is being presented that way. What I just don't understand is why we have to waste this match. Again, it's not a thing against New Day getting a match and losing. I just feel they could have made this match bigger by having them face a different tag team, get that win, and then all of a sudden, that maybe they put a beat down on New Day says them. You can make this match a little bit bigger than what it is than just a thrown match on Raw for free. That's what WWE, I feel, is doing terribly. They're not monetizing on what their big matches are.
Don't disagree. Ed hopping in the chat, though, with another great point. You need New Day to restart this so you have time to get RK Bro and the Raiders as viable contenders. Now, admittedly, I was cooking dinner through Raw, so I did miss a couple of minutes at points, but I don't know. Did the Viking Raiders appear at all on Raw tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe you can run me through that segment a little bit, Vanessa, because I agree. Like they should be in the contention as far as the tag titles go here sooner rather than later. But I just got to be completely blunt with y'all. I completely missed their segment tonight.
It was a quick segment, so it doesn't make the reason why it was the New Day going against them is because they're still trying to portray Omos as the big guy, and the New Day, like Xavier and Kofi, will sell the shit out of everything he's gonna do.
I have in my notes here, like, is there underappreciated, perhaps is the word for it. Is there a more underappreciated wrestler out there than Xavier Woods? Like
Murphy? Ali?
But as far as like, I think a lot of people, why I say like, I tried to be careful with like underappreciated is like with a guy like Murphy, with a guy like Ali.
He gets overlooked based on who he's aligned with. I agree with that one.
Yes and no. I think for me that like when you look at Ali and Murphy, just because they're the two examples you gave, there are a lot more like this. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
When you look at those two, I think that people know that they're great pro wrestlers, but maybe haven't gotten the opportunity to showcase that on TV as often. With a guy like Xavier Woods, I think that people like you said, Parrish. I think that you can't discount like being aligned with two guys who have been pushed really as single stars before. Makes a lot of sense, but I also think that, to be just quite honest with you, like Xavier Woods, there's not a lot he does poorly. There's really nothing for me that he does poorly as far as it goes. Like he's a technically sound wrestler. There's not often you look at him and say, "Oh, that looked shitty, that looked sloppy, that looked any of those typical buzzwords." He sells like a son of a bitch, like better than many individuals out there. He's constantly entertaining, great on the mic. I don't have to make any additional points on that end of things. Like as far as all those boxes, like it's a really crappy way to put it, but like outside of being 6'6" and 360 pounds, like he crosses every box that you could possibly want checked as a pro wrestler. And you obviously can't fault a guy for the size. He's obviously had a ton of success. You can't begrudge him any of that. It's just like, I hope that sounds like a full compliment to the guy. He is very, people know he's great. I still think people could think he's greater. There's my soapbox.
I don't disagree, but the second that they decide we got to give Xavier Woods a push, you have to stop using New Day as a unit. I'm going to use that because at that point, now you have given Kofi a time to shine. You have given Big E a time to shine. At this point, you can't have him always have New Day guys do something and then always have the guys with them. And if you do that, then turn them heel, because at some point, I don't like the fact that you have a babyface group constantly in numbers. You bring up a heel faction for them and have Xavier Woods be the standout. There are ways around it, but at some point, you have to have these guys break away if they need to identify themselves as true single stars. That's just the way you do it. You can always break them off without splitting.
But that what's going to happen with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin?
I really don't know. I'm interested, and I'll let you.
That's another tag team we can actually talk about too.
Well, and I was going to say I'll let you get the first word on that one there too, Shaw. It's just I'm interested to see where they go with this one. It's just odd to me to again like break the Hurt business down further on one hand, and then break up just another tag team period right now on the other hand. So Shaw, I'll let you speak to it right now. And again, I like giving you the big screen. Well, people are happy to see you in the chat, so I'll let you get the handsome mug up there.
I just think that like they were putting over the fact that they actually have teams pretty strong tonight, and then they broke up one of the teams, and it was like I like Shelton and Cedric as a team. I thought they were pretty good, you know. And it's like, can't they just be a good team for a while before they have to break up after their like 3-week run? Like they were a big deal with the Hurt business and stuff, and now as soon as that's over, they can't just be like a contender tag team for a while. Like
exactly.
What a babyface Shelton would look good against
those two guys. Like they're good heels, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like why you would rush, because I at least think it seems like they're gonna have a small feud between these guys. I hope they just don't have this like blown off on Raw next week and then they go their separate ways, because to me, you know, pro wrestling and sports and most things in general is a very what have you done for me lately? I understand that. But when you look at the work that those guys did, like you guys said, over the last year-ish, when they've been a tag team, because they were teaming together before they teamed with the Hurt business, right? And they were doing great then. join the Hurt Business, and then split up. There's a lot of history there. And I think that when you've got the opportunity to tell a breakup angle right, you take it just because it's something that's very simple. It's, I take my shots earlier about the paint by numbers in some wrestling, but this is something that can be like a paint by numbers tailored to every specific situation, right? Well, you were the one who took the pin in this tag team championship match. You're the reason that Bobby kicked us out of the whatever it might be that you do with the Hurt Business, right? I think that it's odd to me that they choose to make these go so quickly when there's so much material. There are a couple of points from Ed in here. I'll touch on the former one first. Parrish is right. If Woods is going to be a single star, they should all be separate single stars without turning them. For those three guys specifically, I've got more time for it maybe because of how talented they are. But even with Xavier, I think it would be a very cool thing. I loved how people got behind Kofi Mania, and I loved how the New Day got behind Kofi with that. Even if it is something, and I don't want to say like be as heavy-handed with it as saying, oh, let's redo Kofi Mania with Xavier. But if they're like, Xavier, you're the one of us who hasn't won a singles championship. Let's, even if it's chase the United States title. No, I don't want to say just. Let's scratch that. Even if it's chase the United States championship as a, let's win you a singles title and work your way from there. I'd have no issue with having the New Day get behind him there. That maybe Parrish like is where you could turn them heel. I personally am against that just with how great they've been as baby faces over the last few years, but that is what it is. I'll let you pick up, and then we'll get back. I think we were still talking. At least there was still some meat on the bone with Shelton and Cedric, if anybody else had points.
I want to clarify, you don't have to separate the New Day. All I'm saying is if Xavier Wood is to win a title and there's like but Kofi helped you, or there's like this and this and this, it's going to diminish what he did on his own. Oh, yeah. And I think it's better for Xavier Woods to do something on his own than do it just because, well, you're with these guys. So, like, he doesn't necessarily need to split from the New Day, but he needs to have his moment, his opportunity, his, like, it needs to be his. It can't be shared in any way. Just like what Big E's doing on SmackDown now, that's on Big E. He hasn't separated from the New Day. It's not like they're not separated, but he is doing things on his own merit, and that's what Xavier Woods needs. It does more for Xavier Woods if it's on his own merit than just because he's with the group. That's all I'm saying.
Fair point. I also want to give a shout to Ed as well with this one, because this is an appetizing one. If somebody wants to, this might be one we talk about on Sunday brunch. I like this. If this means Cedric goes to NXT and we get Kushida versus Cedric or Escobar versus Cedric in NXT, I am all for it. Yeah, those are some fantastic sounding matchups. I'm real excited about the potential of those, especially with the rumors on the MLW. And obviously, I don't think that's going to happen next week or the week after, but you never know. You never know what could happen. There's lots of great matches out there for a solo Cedric Alexander. It seems like he's going to be the heel in this one too, which is not a bad decision by any means, but not refreshing. The way I would. I would have envisioned Shelton turning on Cedric, which I'm excited. I Cedric Alexander for me after the Cruiserweight Classic, for me he was like your perennial babyface, right?
Is Benjamin's contract coming up? Is that maybe why they're doing this? Maybe they're seeing a future with Cedric and now with Benjamin.
I can tell you how many times I have looked up contract status or anything like that. Usually I get they are a free agent that comes across the Twitter feed, and I say, oh, that's an interesting thing that I am now just becoming aware of. I just know nothing on the contract end of things, nor am I interested in it. You know what? It's odd, Parrish. Like you and I as hockey fans, I don't know, Char, Vanessa, if you guys are big hockey fans outside of this.
Well, it's more announced in other sports than it is wrestling.
Well, like, and in the NHL, like you've got to play like the salary cap and all of that sort of stuff. Like you don't really have to do that in wrestling. That's neither here nor there. I'm not here to talk about any of that sort of stuff. I'm trying not to chat hockey a ton this week. I'm in my fantasy hockey finals, and I talked a lot of smack to the guy I'm in the finals with, so got to shut my mouth. Couple of quick points to make because we're getting close to the end of the show here. I liked the MVP and Big Bad Bobby Lashley promo that they cut in the backstage area. The only point that I had to make on it, though, is I was frustrated that Big Bad Bob said, I am not normal, and he didn't finish it off with, I'm a genetic freak. I was very frustrated on that end of things. Any chance you have to bring up Steiner math, you do it. Elias and Jackson Riker backstage segment. Want to make me care less about Jackson Riker? Include my least favorite fruit and or vegetable, depending on which category you put tomatoes in.
Yes, but
care.
Riddle scooting across and being like, hey, Randy.
See, and the visual, and I know like Randy Orton isn't like a very serious individual, judging only by social media, but like the visual of a very serious Randy Orton, as we've seen over the last 20 years in professional wrestling, in the conversation for like, yeah, I'll get hit with a tomato. Again, it's just one of those like mental points where it's like there's really no point in me bringing this up as like an actual factual thing in a recap. Just this could be highlighted under Spencer's dumb thoughts. We can do a segment at the end. Randy Orton pitching, getting hit by a tomato is fantastic to me. I just really like that.
Did anybody watch Ring of Honor when Cole Cabana, CM Punk, they were the second City Saints, and like the dynamic between those two? It was so funny because CM Punk was always like the dead set serious guy. Cabana was just like absolutely joking around. And like some of the things, it's like Punk's trying to cut a serious thing after a big win, and then all of a sudden you just see a streamer pop in his face, and it reminds me of a lot of that, and it's just really comedy gold, to be honest, because Riddle is going to be Riddle, and Orton is just going to have that just like, it's like the steam blown out of his ears kind of a dynamic, and it's just
I always
funny
to
watch.
Like Looney Tunes, where it's like the big dog and then little Spike running around like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Hey.
I have to admit, I am not really that hyped for the match between Randy Orton and Jackson Riker.
I'm not hyped for anything that Jackson Riker does.
I
like to talk about positive things here on the stream. And I like to try
Randy
and keep
Orton's going to kick his ass.
But like, let me tell you, I am about as excited for anything that Jackson Riker does as I am to like
people in this match. I don't think he's that bad of a worker, but I think he's that big of a dick as a human being. But at the same point, I don't pay to watch these guys like give me or tweet me their aspects of what they think. I want to see them wrestle. So I'm gonna give the time to see the guy wrestle. Because if he can wrestle, who cares?
In a lot of senses.
Shawn Michaels was a dick, and he was one of the best.
But he didn't.
You wouldn't watch any Hollywood movie if you actually followed what
Jackson
the actors
Riker
believe.
is like anywhere near Shawn Michaels' league.
I know, but we have to give him an opportunity.
I will vouch with that young man right there. I'm not gonna make this anybody's like just it's a long conversation and a very nuanced one, just to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time for Jackson Riker. Everybody is entitled to their beliefs, but a lot of people's rights to their fists ends where other people's noses begin. And I think he infringed on a lot of that with some pretty dumb decisions at a very dumb time to do so. And for that, again, have opinions.
I mean, I'm not even really talking about his politics. I just think he's not a very exciting wrestler to watch.
Well, and that's the other point you can make is the guy's about as exciting as like a soggy piece of bread in a lot of aspects. So that's all the time I'm going to give Jackson Riker. We're going to move on to Angel Garza being back because let's talk about good things.
Sure
we're going to follow up with it. I'm excited. I really, really am. Maybe it's more so I'm excited because I really wasn't expecting this. I'd say it about a lot of people, and I know you guys do too. Everybody's got their personal favorites that they feel are underappreciated or underutilized. We've talked about a couple of them on this stream, but like Angel Garza, this time last year, was on screen every week. He was part of a promising. Like, and I will still say the potential that they had with that Zelina Vega, Andrade, Angel Garza faction was massive. But he was still on TV consistently. He at least was getting that out of it, and I'm glad that he's back because the talent that he has portrayed in the past is definitely evident. Ed, sorry, I got distracted there reading your shot. Surprised Spencer's internet has held up this long. I actually had a Shaw technician here for an hour and a half today installing a booster, and he was not, actually. I couldn't tell you what his name was. I'd ask Morgan, but she's playing some Plants vs. Zombies right now. And
over your head, too. Over your head.
It did, and now I'm realizing. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. But we'll move on from there. The net's going to work fine. We hope it continues to work fine in the future. I hope I get invited back to a Fightful stream for my poor internet connection on Friday, and my apologies to those fine folks. Angel Garza is back. That's a good thing. The Viking Raiders, were they part of a segment about with Matt Riddle backstage? Because I literally only have a note here that says Viking Raiders and Riddle.
Yes.
So there we go. I got to steal a line that I think is appropriate for Matt Riddle. I got two birds stoned at once with that one. And then I think the two big things coming out of tonight, the other littler things that I had here, Damian Priest wrestled John Morrison. Good match. I enjoyed it. That's all I have to really say about that. Sheamus attacked Humberto Carrillo backstage. Sorry, vice versa. I wrote that in the wrong order. Not a chance that Humberto Carrillo is your next United States champion, though, right? Nothing against the guy. Another guy I really like watching wrestle when he gets the chance.
Not for a bit.
Yeah, but you're not going to bring that guy back and have him win it next week. Or
I'm happy they're putting some investment in Humberto, though. I'm happy he's given some airtime. Just not that first time he comes in, he just gets like his ass kicked. It's like, okay, now he comes back and then he kicks some ass. And it's like, okay, now like this is how you wreck a guy. If you just continually have him be like the shits, it's like, why do I care? But now all of a sudden, like Humberto over time since he's been there has shown some progression on his attitude and his I'm gonna stand up for the right things and I really wish they would do one of those old school like segments where it's like kind of like his like first day and kind of the evolution of Humberto, because it's actually an interesting one. It's not the one that you're going to pay top dollar for, but it is one that you will actually get invested in. And because of that, I do believe that there is some value in Humberto in that picture, and I'm really happy that they're using him.
I agree, and I beat the dead horse of this one a lot, don't get me wrong, but what I'll always go back to is the one thing that really got me invested in Roderick Strong when he came over to NXT. I really loved his work prior, don't get me wrong, but when he first came over to NXT, Mike the Ref, thank you for the raid. Good to see you, friend. Thank you for joining us on Love Wrestling Reacts. Give some love to Mike the Ref. Give some love to Backbreaker Media.
Did
I
you
believe.
Just say your thing?
Yes, I did.
That's what she said.
Oh, grow up.
Yes, I got one in.
Well, like the door was wide open. Like, come on.
If somebody didn't take that, I would have been a little bit upset. Would have been a little bit upset. But Mike, feel free if you are in the comments still, let us know the date for Clandestine, because I wanted to shout it out as this Saturday, but I also realized that I am not 100% up to date with this much wrestling in the world right now.
Clandestine, eh?
Exactly. So throw that in the comments if you guys can. If you guys want to throw some love to Backbreaker Media, Mike the Ref, search up Backbreaker Medi on Twitter. They don't need the A. They're Canadian. Still a great joke. MEDI. On Twitter. There we go. Thank you, the Judge Ben Omen, hopping in May 15th. May 15th, ladies and gentlemen, the Clandestine Society is going to be showing Act 3 of their most recent set of tapings. The first two have been fantastic, and I would highly suggest checking that out as well. But I also wanted to shout out the shout before this, because they are the two things that I wanted to chat about as the two big things this evening. One of them being the debut of Mansoor. Sad the streak is over, and that is something I am glad you mentioned because it was something that I was going to mention as well. Of course, I understand, don't get me wrong, why people wouldn't be all that familiar with Mansoor's winning streak over on Main Event. It's not as though Main Event, in the nicest way possible to it, is treated with the same credence and love that perhaps Monday Night Raw is at sometimes. But I think he was on something like a 48 or 49 match winning streak coming into tonight. And regardless of the programming, that is how you start to at least have someone taken seriously. Because if you can have that guy come in and be told backstage or in any promo segments, anything like that, this guy in WWE has won 49 matches in a row against Drew Gulak is the immediate example for me and such. Cool. That sells people right off the bat, especially when he hasn't been presented on NXT like a lot of your call-ups are right now. So I too am sad that the streak is over. But Vanessa, I'll turn to you first. What did you think of Mansoor's first appearance on Raw?
I guess, I don't know, it was okay. Honestly, I didn't even know he was still with WWE. And when we first saw him sign the contract, and my husband and I looked at each other and he's like, isn't that the guy who won Saudi like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like,
well, Ed making the point here as well. Likely means WWE to Saudi is likely coming soon enough. I can't even begin to speculate on that, purely on the fact that, like, I got no idea what travel's like right now. No idea. I haven't even attempted, and I've been lucky enough through this that I haven't had to look. Kyle went back to bed. He fell asleep halfway through the stream.
No, I didn't.
did he just, I was going to say, did he just quack? But he's a goose. He doesn't quack.
He honks. But I truly
Somebody
just
tossed
don't
a
know.
toonie and he went crazy.
We've got to buy those Tims.
Or hiss at people as they walk by to try and get their own Tims. Geese are actually scary.
They
Like,
are.
So let's get
Have you ever been
Put at
chased
him
by a
and he'll
goose?
be
Oh my
nice.
gosh. it's
Oh
the
yeah,
scariest thing
like
ever.
they're not cool. Like I'm
And
certain
they go
there are other
right
people,
for behind your knee.
right? It's nice to have the Canadian. Well, at least a large part.
You know what? I've always thought that geese like me, but it's always because I have bread. It's weird.
Geese love bread, but they do not have the capability to buy a loaf, and that is the greatest joke on the goose.
You're
ever.
happy. You're happy I referenced him again, eh?
I am very happy you referenced him, and for that reason, Parrish, I will turn to you. What were your thoughts on Mansoor? It wasn't a ton, but it was certainly enjoyable from what I saw. So, what did you think?
I honestly just don't think he's ready to be on the main roster. Like,
Okay.
and if I'm being completely honest, like, I don't think, like, I understand why they want to use him. Like, I understand why WWE wants to have somebody from where he is on the roster, and that they always want to have that. And he is the best guy they have right now. I get that. But at the same time, if he's not the best Mansoor he can be, I don't think he's doing enough impact or justice for what you're trying to have him do. But with that being said, he's insanely popular when they go back to Saudi Arabia. So with that being said, it's not the worst thing. Exposure is always going to be good. I said this with Dominic Mysterio. You got to give him the reps. You got to give him experience. So I can't be a hypocrite and not say the same thing with Mansoor. However, I just don't think that he's being used in the best. I think he's just better suited on a SmackDown than he is on a Monday Night Raw, just because of what he can deliver and what they want to use him for.
Well, what you can learn. Yeah, I don't
Well,
disagree
you
with
got
you.
Cedric, who, like, right, and then you got Ali, like, there or not Ali, yeah, Ali and Ricochet.
Ricochet,
All
yeah.
four of those guys can kind of do a against each other.
Not
Raw is a
stable. I
very
was just
big
gonna say,
guy,
like, how do you?
big guy energy.
I mean, a faction of those four guys might not be the worst thing. If
No.
they were to do a shift in where Monday Night Raw could go, like, kind of like, you know how, like, the Nexus kind of, like, brought, like, a lot of different type of people together and it became really good? if that's something that they could do again, it wouldn't be the worst idea. Because all
I thought you
four
were
guys
gonna
need
say,
something.
like when Malenko and all them came in from WCW.
The Radicals? Oh.
Is that what they were called? I can remember
Yeah.
what they were called.
Yeah.
All four of those guys need
With a
something
Z.
right now, and maybe
All the
coming
cool kids are
together
doing it.
is a good idea.
I'd say you could call them the New Radicals, but they were just a great band. And they were great
I
band.
don't think anyone wants to be the new Radicals.
Actually, that's a very fair point, Shaw. But we're not going to go down that bucket hole. He's real life friends with Dijak and Madden. I don't know who those are, but I do know a T-Bar and Mace. That could be a fun group for him to have as a backup. Don't disagree at all. Wow. Yeah, I know.
I ended up watching.
I get that a lot.
Raw
I
started.
feel like it's a wow Spencer and a damn it Parrish sort of evening on this one tonight. Sorry, Sean, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Where did I get that? Like, I haven't deserved that yet. I mean,
I was just saying
it's
that,
coming probably, but not yet.
Before Raw started, there was another wrestling show, main event on before Raw, and like the opener on that was Ali versus Ricochet, and I was like, this should be like a really dope match. Why don't they just put this on Raw rather than like this? Like, I don't think anyone watches main event. I just watched it because it was on before Raw. You know?
No, and that's exactly it. And again, I don't want to discredit the work that people do on main event. But you're bang on there, Shaw, in that like it's silly to me that they choose to put matches like this on there rather than put them on Monday Night Raw, where you are getting more viewers and you will get more people get to see these sorts of individuals tear it the absolute house down. But we've been going for an hour. We're already a little bit over our match time here on Love Wrestling Reacts, and there is some big news to talk about as we close out the show. Ladies and gentlemen,
Huge.
Eva Marie is back. She is back in the World Wrestling Entertainment. That doesn't sound as good as she's back. She's back in the World Wrestling Federation. That's what we're going with. Vanessa, I'm going to give you your initial thoughts because you can't seem to contain your excitement here. I started this off as excitedly as possible. We're going to compliment sandwich it here. Ben Oman, I think, is doing the same thing you seemed to be doing there, Vanessa, and throwing some crickets up there. Don't worry, Josh, I'm on your side. I'll defend in a second. But Vanessa, the floor is yours.
She wasn't good when she debuted, like, what, 10, 15 years ago? Like, what, she's magically got better now? And what, we need another redhead because Becky's still off, so let's just bring Eva Marie back? Like, no, I'm sorry. You have enough talent there that you're not using. Like, let's not add someone else. That's not good.
Kyle Shaw, the floor is yours.
I mean, I can't speak to her current skill level because I haven't seen her wrestle in like 5-6 years. But I mean, generally, like, you can go away and train and get better. So hopefully that's what she's done. She looked good, like, you know, draped over that car. Had my attention.
All right. I mean,
That's the point, right? Like,
Shaw, I mean, you don't make a bad point by any means. Parrish, your thoughts.
You release Mickey James of the Iconics for Eva Marie. I mean, GTFO, because I don't want to say the F word on the stream. But, like, seriously, like, I don't hate Eva Marie. I think she can be a good character on the show. But you let Mickey James and the Iconics go to, and you want her on your TV screen? Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, and that's so when I said earlier that like I had some things to say on it, it's not like there are any points that are like unique by any means, but you're right. That's maybe the only complaint I might have about this is that it's odd timing just based on the fact that, like you said, it's less than 2 weeks or right around 2 weeks, I should
Peyton
say.
Royce couldn't get a push, but you have time for this.
Mickey James was released because of backstage stuff between her husband and Bruce Pritchard. That's
Bruce Pritchard
Well,
is a dick. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I
have to
am
say
going
this.
to have more information on that.
Sorry,
coming
that
out.
just came out, and I apologize.
That's fine. I am going to have more information on the Mickey James, Nick Aldis opinions on that end of things. Coming out
Good
tomorrow,
segue.
that's right. Nick Aldis is joining me on Spencer Love Interviews tomorrow morning. We chat Mickey James and a whole lot more, but let's save the cheap plugs for the end, why don't we? That though is about the only issue I've really got with it is the timing of it, is that it's coming right after a few individuals were released, and especially given that they were released given budget cuts was the reason. Nothing against her, like make hay while the sun shines, but I can't assume that Eva Marie would be re-signing for WWE for an inexpensive price, rightfully so. Like, she's got a huge following, but
The
that
car
would
was very expensive.
well, and she does, like, she in the best way you can put it, she's just an entrepreneur. She's got her fingers in a lot of different businesses, and good on her for choosing to come back to WWE. Why not? I'm interested to see how good she is in the ring. I really am.
Like, are
I
we
can't
going back
disagree
to
with you.
divas? Is that what's going on? Like,
I don't know.
seriously, like, you have Dana and Mandy coming out in those, like, that gear, and then Mandy's gear slipped, the poor thing, and she gets exposed. Like, and then you got Eva Marie draped over a car. Like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it.
I just
Hey,
want to say I don't hate Eva Marie. I just don't understand why she's an answer and the previous girls weren't even
Diva was
considered to be
fine
a
last
solution.
summer.
I was just going to say, in all fairness, and you know, talk earlier about not paying attention to contracts. There have at least been rumors that she had re-signed since, like you said, Vanessa, about last summer. So whether it was an issue of travel because of COVID, whatever it might have been, filming a movie, fuck, I don't know. If she signed last summer, then a lot of my previous arguments there are just frankly like pretty moot, to be honest with you. So regardless on that end of things, the timing is suspicious, just obviously based on the optics. The good thing for me is that is the only bad thing about this. Like, at the end of the day, I've got a lot of time for both sports and entertainment in my sports entertainment, as long as they're like both reasonably equally served. If I'm going to get Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair sooner rather than later again, or Bayley wrestling her at WWE WrestleMania Backlash, and then going on to WWE WrestleMania Backlash Money in the Bank, at least we're getting great women's wrestling, and we're getting great men's wrestling, and we're getting the great sports side of things. If Eva Marie comes back and she entertains as much as she did for me when she was in that last little feud with Becky Lynch, where the excuses of, I'm sorry, Eva Marie is stuck in traffic. I thought that shit was hilarious. I'm not going to deny that whatsoever. I've got a lot of time for that in pro wrestling, as long as both sides of it, like I said, we're sort of equally served. I will give a resounding thumbs up. And as Josh alludes to here, I might have thoughts on this situation. Within the next 12 hours, we're going to have a video from Josh Robinson, that handsome gentleman you can see right there. If you're on YouTube, give the guy a follow. He deserves all your love. Great, great human being and a great content creator. So hopefully you will check out his great content coming to Love of Wrestling on Eva Marie coming in the next little bit. Now, while we're plugging here, Shaw, because you showed up last, we are going to let you done first, because I'm trying to find a way to paraphrase this. Because you're last, you're first, to paraphrase a line from Ricky Bobby. So give us your overall grade. Give us your bags of popcorn out of 5. What'd you think of Raw tonight? And let us know where people can find you. As you do that, too, I'll pull up your Pro Wrestling Tees link.
I liked some of the matches on the show tonight. I didn't think that there was anything that was horrible or bad or anything like that. It wasn't WrestleMania by any means, but it was a perfectly serviceable Monday Night Raw. What I saw was good. I mean, It doesn't really speak to the quality of the show that I fell asleep. But what are we gonna do? My Twitter handle is Canadian Goose KS. My wrestling T-shirts are available at the link that's being displayed on the screen right now. I have 2 different designs up there. Please do go ahead and buy one because it really, really helps me out. I'm having to use my phone for this right now because my computer is currently on the fritz and in the shop. So that was a very unexpected expense, and the T-shirt money is going to help. So please be like me and buy a Canadian Goose T-shirt. That's what I did with my Quizplex winnings. Got a Canadian
The
Goose shirt.
Quizplex champion, Canadian Goose. Goose, how did it feel to win the Champions Edition of Quizplex?
Pretty dope. Yeah, awesome. Felt great.
Good.
You know?
Always good to hear winners like to win. Breaking news here on Love Wrestling. Parrish, I'll let you plug next.
Okay, but can I ask if you put one thing up?
Okay.
And I know you know it. It's what we showed when the streamer on Sunday brunch. There we go.
See, I was going to do it for Vanessa.
I know, but
that's why I was
we
saving
can
her
keep
for
it
last.
up because I think this is something that everyone needs to start doing.
Okay, but just
and
so
help
you
it
know,
out.
I am going to take it down and then put it back up to get a second pop later in the show.
That's okay. As long
Cool.
as we're
Sounds
healthy.
good.
That's all
I
that
just wanted to
matters.
I just wanted to let you know. To let you know.
Um,
Go for it.
Yeah, you can follow me at all. I mean, like, I'm on here enough. You guys know all my handles, but it's not about me. It's about helping a good cause. This is a good cause. Please do what you can to help out. And just come back tomorrow where we have, I believe it's the MLS React show. So just do that. Just, don't even worry about me. Just help other people. Let's just do that.
I am going to fact check tomorrow. I am back here with my good buddy and fellow Love Wrestling contributor, but that's far from the only thing this guy is doing. I am joined by the incomparable Mags tomorrow on The Mind Behind. That's our live stream tomorrow. That's taking place at 7 Eastern. On Wednesday, we are doing our MLW reaction. So, Parrish, if you're home from 5 to 6 and then want to hop on with myself and Wrestling Plug,
I
feel
got
more than
20,
free.
like 5 minutes before this stream. I don't think that's going to happen.
Vanessa, I am going to let you not only put yourself over, but of course, there's a lovely little link down there. And Parrish alluded to it and did a good job of telling what it is about. But tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing for St. Jude over at Putting You Over.
Yeah, so we're just doing, I believe it's just for the month of May. It's St. Jude's month, so for the kids. So you just donate. We have, for everyone who donates to it, it comes up on our stream, and then there's prizes to be given away. I don't remember how many we have total, but we do have some prizes that we will raffle off. So there is some giving back, so everyone will get something out of it. So that's pretty cool. Tomorrow we're live on twitch.tv/putting you over, live from 9 to 11. And at 9:30, we have Polo Del Mar.
Cool. That's going to be rad. Oh,
yeah. I'm pumped
excited.
For her. I'm so excited.
I am real excited. And if you guys want to get a taste of what Putting You Over is all about, we are going to be rating them here in about 5 minutes. They are live on the Twitch
Smacked Raw podcast.
Right. So we are going to be going over there in just a couple of minutes' time. But of course, want to give a couple of quick shouts to a few things that we are looking to accomplish over here on Love Wrestling. Number one, if you guys tuned in on Twitch tonight, you guys have already helped us out a little bit in what we are asking you to do. Hit the follow button if you're feeling saucy. Give us a subscription if you are over on twitch.tv/Love Wrestling CA. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, feel more than free. If that is your preferred platform, we appreciate you guys tuning in. But if you don't mind hopping over onto that there little link that you can see across the bottom, that is the easiest and quickest way that we can help monetize here on Love Wrestling, which goes right back into the pockets of the lovely individuals outside of myself that you see on the screen. And let me tell you, they're great human beings and they're great at what they do, so they are well worth your time, as I hope that we were, I guess. I can include myself in that part of it, as I hope that we were tonight on Love Wrestling Reacts. The other thing that we want to push a little bit here, lovewrestling.ca/shop. Yes, I have a tracking number, so Our brand new collaboration t-shirts with Sea of Dead are on their way to my house. And once they're at my house, they are on the way to you. That is if you head to that link there and you throw some money our way. If you exchange us goods, we will exchange you goods or services in return. That is the way that the economy
watch
works.
What you say.
That is the way that the economy works. What those goods and or services may be can be found on lovewrestling.ca/shop. Shaw, I know that you were showing off the Sunday brunch mug there. Vanessa's is on her way, and Parrish, as you can see, every morning on Sunday. It'll get there soon, I promise. I'm not going to blame anybody specific.
It'll go through Mississauga and it'll get stuck.
Hey, Spencer, you want breaking news, though?
I do. I like breaking
because
news.
I have made Love Wrestling gear for myself. I will get it on Friday. So
nice.
on Sunday brunch, if I have it, I'll wear it for Sunday brunch.
That's something
Why would
I'm very
you waste
excited
it?
about.
Why are you you could have just wore it on Sunday and then had the big reveal?
Because I want people to anticipate it and then be like, "Ooh, I got a scoop."
You're like WWE. I have to give you the.
We gotta let. Hey,
we don't want people falling asleep through this. That's what Monday Night Raw was for, right, Shaw?
Yeah, but brunch is on at 1 o'clock.
I'm really sorry. I tried to stay awake. I did. I legit.
But nobody knows what that looks like, so now they know where to go to see them.
It's always funny.
I unfortunately don't have Love Wrestling gear, but if you want to see me wrestle in my regular gear, you can watch RCW Uprising.
That, my friend, is an absolutely seamless plug. Well done on that one. The other thing, and the potentially most important thing, very likely the most important thing, in my opinion, the most important thing that we've got to plug is, of course, this show wouldn't be possible without the great people at RK Athletics. You can see their logo right down there beside our good buddy Kyle Shaw. I think I am pointing. Oh, I can't point any further. I can't go down into Shaw's screen, but below my name and above Kyle Shaw's, you can see the logo for RK Athletics. Find him on social media at RK Athletics 1. If you're in the Edmonton area, you've got the access to some great personal one-on-one training, of course, pending restrictions that are coming out tomorrow. However, if you guys aren't in the Edmonton area and you don't want to miss out on getting some one-on-one time with one of the best, at least in my opinion, personal trainers out there, and I think speaking for a guy who didn't work out and then liked working out when he started with Rich should speak a lot. Make sure, again, you head and support him on social media or contact him on his brand new website, because you've got access to some online personal training that I would highly suggest getting done. Again, I can't speak highly enough about him. We like supporting great people who are great at what they do. I've said that a couple of times, but there are a few people it applies more to than Rich. So again, that is at RK Athletics 1 across social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And once again, friends, for our friends here on Love Wrestling, Parrish, Kyle Shaw, the Canadian Goose, honk, 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 and of course, Vanessa. We are going to go see Vanessa's, home channel. Is that the way we put it on Twitch? I'm still old. I don't understand the way you phrase things, the way you youths call things. We're going over to putting you over. So if you're tuned in on Twitch, the raid button is active. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, again, I speak for the three individuals joining me. Thanks for tuning in to Love Wrestling Reacts. We'll see you later.